Hi, in this video let us try to design a regulated power supply and simulate our design using OrCAD's PSpice simulation tool. What is a regulated power supply? It's a device which takes in line voltage and produces a smooth regulated DC voltage. A regulated power supply has three components inside it. One is the bridge rectifier, second one is the smoothing filter, and third one is the voltage regulator. Input to the regulated power supply is the line voltage, that is 230 volt RMS 50 Hz sinusoidal signal that is represented here. It looks something like this. This is applied to the bridge rectifier. It's a rectifier circuit which converts all the negative half cycles into positive half cycles, as you can see in this diagram. This is provided as input to a smoothing filter which will have capacitor in that, and that will try to remove all the pulsating DC components, but still it will have ripples. This signal is provided to the voltage regulator which will further smoothen it out to give regulated DC voltage source. Let us try to design one regulated power supply. These are the requirements for our regulated power supply. Input is 50 Hz 230 volt RMS sine wave. Please note that this is 230 volt RMS, not the peak voltage. We'll have to do a small conversion to get the peak voltage of the input sinusoidal signal. And what I want from the RPS is 8 volt DC. And this RPS has to drive a load of 150 ohm. And this is called as rated load. These are the requirements for our regulated power supply. First we shall start designing from voltage regulator, then we shall design smoothing filter, and at the end we shall design bridge rectifier. So let us begin the design of the voltage regulator. Let us use a simple voltage series regulator. We shall use a reverse biased Zener diode to give us a reference voltage signal, and a power transistor to condition the signal. A reverse biased Zener diode, if it is driven in its breakdown region, will have constant voltage of Vz across it. So that is represented as Vz, and VBE is the base emitter forward voltage drop of the power transistor that we are using. Let us apply KVL at the output loop. So I shall go from this side. Vz minus VBE, please observe the sign. Vz minus VBE minus Vout is equal to 0. So that's what is written here. Vz minus VBE minus Vout is equal to 0. And rearranging the term, we get Vz is equal to Vout plus VBE. If our power transistor is a silicon transistor, then VBE will be equal to 0.7 volt. And as per the requirements, what I want is Vout should be equal to 8 volt. That is the regulated output. This is RL is the load resistance, rated load, and I want 8 volt across the rated load. So Vout is equal to 8 volt is our requirement. So if I plug in 8 volt in this equation and VBE is equal to 0.7 volt, then I can calculate what should be the breakdown voltage for the Zener diode. So Vz is equal to 8.7 volt. So I have to find a Zener diode whose reverse breakdown voltage or Zener breakdown voltage is 8.7 volt. And let us assume Vin to be greater than Vout. So I have taken Vin is equal to 12 volt. Let it be at least 4 to 5 volt greater than what is the output voltage that is required. So output voltage required is 8 volt. So I have taken Vin as 12 volt. So I have found out one such Zener diode whose breakdown voltage is 8.7 volt, that is 1N5345. This Zener diode has a Zener breakdown voltage of 8.7 volt that fits my requirement. And also I will use 2N3055 power BJT whose nominal beta or HFE is 100. So I will start my design. So Vz is 8.7 volt, and from the data sheet I have noted down what is the current that flows when the Zener diode enters breakdown region, that is around 150 milliamp. So I'll start by calculating the load current that is required. So we know that V out is 8 volt, that is the required voltage across the rated load. Rated load is 150 ohms. So I can calculate what is the current that is flowing through the rated load. So IL is V out divided by RL. So substituting the value, I'll get 53.33 milliamp is the rated current that should flow. And please observe the current flowing through the resistance R is I. This gets split into two parts. One part of the current flows into the base of the transistor that I have represented as IB, and other part flows into the reverse biased Zener diode that I have represented as IZ. So let me calculate what is IB. If you see this part, IL is nothing but the emitter current, load current is nothing but the emitter current, which is almost equal to the collector current IC that I have not represented here, and the beta of the transistor is a known thing. So we can calculate what is IB. IB is approximately equal to emitter current divided by beta. It is actually collector current divided by beta. However, collector current is approximately same as emitter current. I have replaced collector current by emitter current. So IB is approximately equal to emitter current, which is also the load current IL divided by beta. So load current we have calculated in the previous step, that is 53.33 milliampere. And I have taken a nominal beta of 50, even though the data sheet says that maximum beta is 100. I am not sure whether I'll get 100. So I have taken half of it, 50. So 53.33 milliampere divided by 50 will give you 1.067 milliampere. That is the base current. So let us calculate what is the total current I that is required. So it is a simple KCL at this particular node. So I is equal to IB plus IZ. So if I substitute these values, I'll get 151.067 milliampere. IB we have calculated 1.067 milliampere. IZ from the data sheet I have obtained it as 150 milliampere. So total it is 151.067 milliampere. Now I know the value of I. I know what is the input voltage VI for the voltage regulator, that is 12 volt that I have assumed, and what is the voltage across reverse biased Zener diode, that is VZ, that is 8.7 volt. So with these data I can calculate what is the value that is required for resistance R. So R can be calculated as Vin minus Vz divided by current flowing through R, that is I. So if I substitute all the values, 12 minus 8.7 divided by 151.067 milliampere, I'll get 21.76 ohm for the value of this R. So this completes the design of the voltage regulator part. Next, let us try to design the smoothing filter part. This smoothing filter comes in between the bridge rectifier and the voltage regulator. So it is nothing but a simple capacitor connected, so that I have shown it here as CF, and the entire voltage regulator will appear for the capacitor as a load resistance. So I am not worried what is the actual value, because I know how much is the current that should go into the voltage regulator. In the previous slide, the current that should come into the voltage regulator is I plus IC, which is nothing but IL. So I plus IL is the current that should enter into the voltage regulator. If I calculate that value, I'll get 204.397 milliampere, because load current is 53.33 milliampere and I that we calculated in the previous step, that is 151.067 milliampere. So the total current that should enter the voltage regulator is 204.397 milliampere, that I have represented as IDC. The output of a bridge rectifier is pulsating DC, as shown in this graph here. Adding this capacitor will convert this pulsating DC into a relatively smoother signal, but it will have ripple that is shown in the red color. So this is the ripple, peak to peak ripple voltage that we get. It is not pure 12 volt. What I need is 12 volt, but I don't get pure 12 volt. It is 12 volt, so a ripple superimposed on 12 volt. So what is the maximum ripple that this voltage regulator can tolerate? That I have to decide. So I'll assume 1% of V in, which is 12 volt. So I'll assume maximum ripple what this voltage regulator should get is 1% of its nominal input DC voltage, that is 12. So that comes to around 0.12 volt. And for a full wave rectifier, the relationship between the smoothing filter capacitance and the other parameters are given by this equation. CF is equal to IDC by F into V ripple. IDC is the current that should enter the voltage regulator. In this case, for smoothing filter, it acts as a load. So that is 204.397 milliampere. F is the frequency. Actually, the frequency of the line voltage is 50 Hertz, but after rectification, we will get all the negative half cycles are also converted to positive half cycle. Therefore, the frequency doubles. So it becomes 100 Hertz, and maximum ripple that what I am expecting is only 0.12 volt. Plugging in all these values gives me the value for filter capacitance, that is 17.033 millifarad. This completes designing of the smoothing filter. Last part is the design of the bridge rectifier. So this is the circuit of the bridge rectifier. What we have, input is 230 volt RMS 50 Hertz, and what I want is 12 volt pulsating DC, because we will use this, we will connect the output of the bridge rectifier to the smoothing filter and so on. So at this point of time, if I get 12 volt pulsating DC, that is enough. So let me calculate the peak input voltage first. So peak input voltage can be calculated as RMS voltage, that is 230 into root 2. So that gives me 325.27 volt is the peak input voltage. 230 is the RMS voltage, 325.27 is the peak input voltage to the bridge rectifier from the line mains. And what is the peak output voltage that I want from the bridge rectifier? That is 12 volt. So that I have written here 12 volt. So let us try to calculate the turns ratio that is required for the step down transformer. So N1 is the number of turns in the primary side, N2 is the number of turns of the secondary. So N1 by N2 should be 325.27 towards the primary side. Secondary side I should ideally have 12, but I have added 2 volt extra. It is because of the diode forward drops, which is somewhere around 0.9 volt for the diodes what I am going to choose. So in a bridge rectifier, 2 diodes come in series always in each of the half cycles. So each diode will have around 0.9 to 1 volt of forward drop. So 2 diodes, it is around 2 volts. So 2 volt is lost across the diodes. So to compensate that, I have added plus 2 towards the secondary side. So ideally it should have been 12. So turns ratio is 23.23 by 1. So this much amount of information is required for us to design the regulated power supply. However, in order to simulate this in the PSpice, OrCAD PSpice, we need to calculate the inductance of the primary and the inductance of the secondary, because we don't get a transformer directly where we can enter the turns ratio. So this step is additional and it is required only for the simulation. So L1 is the inductance of the primary, L2 is the inductance of the secondary. We are ignoring the mutual inductance, so which is negligible. So it is related to the turns ratio like this: L1 by L2 is equal to N1 by N2 whole square. I'll assume a nominal value for L1, that is the primary side inductance, that is 1 Henry, and I'll calculate what is the inductance that is required for the secondary. So if I plug in all the values, I'll get L2 is equal to 1.853 millihenry, and putting all together, this is the final circuit diagram that what I obtained. Let us try to build this circuit diagram in the PSpice and let us simulate the same. Let us simulate the designed regulated power supply in OrCAD's PSpice. Before I start creating the project, let me create a folder. I'll open my D drive. I'll right click on new and click on new folder. I'll give a name to the folder, RPS, and inside this folder I'm going to create the project. So please remember the path where the folder is created. So I'll go to my start menu because PSpice is already installed. I'll find Cadence and then I'll click on Capture CIS Lite, which is here. So this opens OrCAD Capture CIS Lite. This is how the interface looks like. I don't want start page, I'll just close it. I'll go to file, click on new and click on new project, and I'll give a name to the project. It is regulated power supply. And the project type should be PSpice analog or mixed A bar D. Do not select other project types, and please choose the location where you want to create the project. So I'll choose the folder that I created just now in my D drive. I have created regulated power supply. I'll select that particular folder. Please make sure that the location is proper. Once it is done, click on OK. Here please select create a blank project and click on OK. You can maximize the page. First, let us fill out the title block. If you come to the right bottommost part, you will get the title block. Double click on the title, you will be able to enter the name of the design. So I'll enter regulated power supply. Click on OK. That will appear here. Document number, you can give it as 1. You'll have to just click on this doc. So I'll enter 1. So for now, this is sufficient. Revision code is 0.0a. You can enter any number, that depends on the standards what you follow. For now, this is sufficient. So I have shown you the circuit diagram. So we need a transformer, we need 4 diodes, a capacitor, 2 resistors, 1 Zener diode and a power transistor along with the source voltage. Let me add all these components to my design. To add the components, I'll go to the rightmost corner and click on place part icon. This will open up all the libraries that I have added. First, let us add a transformer. The transformer is available in analog. If you select analog library here and browse to xfrm_linear, so select this one. This is a linear transformer. I'll add it here. Next, press on escape to select a new component. Next, I need 4 1N4007 diodes that I'll get in diode library. If you do not have diode library available here, by chance it is not available like this, it is not available here, what you can do is you can add the diode library. To add the diode library, you can click on add library icon here and select find search for diode. So I found here diode.olb. Click on this, click on open. Diode library will be added. Click on diode library and just type D1N4007. So select 1N4007 and press R once. You can rotate. If you press once again R, it will rotate once again 90 degrees each time. So rotate it till you get the correct orientation. Place 4 diodes, D1, D2, D3 and D4. I need 4 diodes for my bridge rectifiers. Once this is done, I need a capacitor for the smoothing filter that I can get in analog library. If analog library is not found, you can add the analog library by clicking add library button, and the procedure remains same for other libraries as well. So click on analog and find C electrolytic. So I found C electrolytic, add electrolytic capacitor. So this is for my smoothing filter. Then I need two resistors, one for biasing the transistor and another one for my load resistance. You can just type R in the same analog library. So R stands for resistor. So I'll select one for transistor, other one is for load. I'll rename it later. Next we shall add a transistor, that is a power transistor. You will have to add power transistor library first. So I'll go to add library and find out where is power BJT, PWR BJT.olb. So power BJT. So click on open, that will be added here. Just type Q2N3055. So that is available. So this is the power transistor. So get the proper orientation by pressing R on the keyboard before placing it. So I placed my power BJT. Last component that I need is diode, Zener diode. So you go to diode. The name of the diode is 1N5345. So 1N5345. Oh, it is not available here. So if you do not know in which library this Zener diode is available, I suggest you to go to go to PSpice component, go to search. So you don't have to remember in which library you find Zener diode. You just type 1N5345 here, click on this search. Yes, I got the Zener diode, what I was searching for. Select this, I'll rotate it, I'll place it below the base terminal. Done. So everything is over. I need to add this source. Please make sure that you add one source resistance from the analog library. I'll take one resistor. This is required only for the simulation. This is the source resistance of the primary winding. So this is required for simulation, otherwise you will get simulation errors. Then from the source library add Vsine, because line voltage is a sinusoidal signal, so you get Vsine. Just select it, place it here, and we need a ground reference as well. So close this. You can place the ground by clicking on this place ground option. Click this, select 0 bar capsim, click on OK. I'll ground it here, and one more ground is required this side to the secondary side. So these are the components that I need. Using place wire we can connect all the components. That I'll do offline to save some time. I have completed connecting all the components. Let us start providing the values for each of the components. Let us start from the input side. I'll zoom in. So V off represents offset voltage. So input doesn't have any offset voltage. So I'll double click on this, and value I will enter as 0. Next is V amplitude, that is the maximum amplitude of the line voltage. We have calculated that as 325.27 volt. So I'll enter 325.27 volt. Frequency is 50 Hertz. I'll enter 50 Hertz. And AC should not be left blank. It should be given a value of 1. This is used for performing AC analysis. As of now, this is not used. So please provide AC is equal to 1. To change the reference designator, all you have to do is just double click on the reference designator and just give a new name to the reference designator. This is the source resistance of the primary winding. I'll enter 1 milliohm, which is very negligible. This is required only for the simulation purpose. So I'll enter 1 milli, small m, lowercase m. And let us enter the turns ratio of the step down transformer. This is ideally not a transformer, it is just a coil, coupled coil that will make use as a transformer. We cannot enter the turns ratio directly, so we are going to enter the inductance what we calculated in the last step. So L1 value we have calculated, if you remember, we assumed L1 is equal to 1 Henry and L2 as 1.853 millihenry. We shall enter that. So what you have to do is just double click on the transformer. This properties page will open. So search for L1 underscore value. This is the primary side, inductance. I'll just type 1 capital H Henry, and secondary side is 1.853 millihenry. So just type this, press Ctrl S, that will save it, and you can close this properties page. Then these are 4 diodes, nothing to do here. This is filter capacitor, so I'll change the reference designator as CF, and its value is 17.033 millifarad, so I'll enter 17.033 milli. And I don't want this Cmax, unnecessary things you can just delete it. And let us come to this resistance. This resistance I've named it as R. So its reference designator is R. Its value is 21.76 ohm. So just double click on this 1K default value. You will be able to enter 21.76 ohm. So click on OK. Then this is the Zener diode. This is the transistor. Nothing to do here. Then comes load resistance RL. I'll change the reference designator, part reference, and its value is 150 ohm. So I'll double click on this 1K. I'll enter 150 ohm. So press Ctrl S to save it. So our design is ready to simulate. Normally, if you build this circuit on the breadboard or on a printed circuit board, you will use oscilloscope to analyze the waveform. We shall do the same thing. In any experiment, if you are using oscilloscope, then to perform the simulation for the same experiment, you need to perform transient analysis or time domain analysis. So let us first create a simulation profile. I'll go to PSpice from the menu. I'll create new simulation profile. I'll say simulation profile 1, SP1. You can give any suitable name. Click on create. Select the analysis type as time domain or transient, the first one. And here you'll have to enter for how long you need to run the simulation. Since the input waveform is of 50 Hz, I want to get around 5 cycles of the input signal. So I will run it for 0.1 second. So 0.1 second. Click on apply. Click on OK. Then you can run. So please select the correct simulation profile before you run. Select this and click on run PSpice. You can plot the graph. Please observe the x-axis is time. It has run for 0.1 second or 100 millisecond. Now we shall add the input and the output graphs. So where is the output? That is here. So I'll add what is the voltage across load resistance RL. So to add, what you can do is right click on add trace, and from the list you can select what is the voltage across load resistance RL. But you can see here VRL:1, VRL:2. So this colon 1 stands for the inputs port, 2 stands for output port. A resistor has two ends. This is 1, this is 2, that you can hover and check. This is number 2, this is number 1. I have connected reverse. So this is a big problem. So what I suggest you to do is, before you run the simulation, you add name to the net. That can be done very easily. Just click on place net alias. This will open up this dialog box. Just type something. I'll type output. That is easy for me to recognize. Click on OK and place it on this particular output net. So it becomes easy for you to search this net in the list. Run this once again. This time it becomes very. Right click, add trace. This time you should be able to see V of output in the list. Select this, click on OK. So this is the output waveform. It's very easy like this. Another way is, if you do not, if you have not placed alias name on the net, once you have run the simulation, all you have to do is, I'll just delete this. All you have to do is, don't close the simulation output window, leave it as it is. You can place voltage level marker. So just take this probe and click on this particular net, and voltage of that net will be plotted, which is nothing but V of output. Once again, to verify whether this is proper or not, what you can do is right click and click on cursor on. Just place any cursor anywhere here. Please observe the output is 8.0615 volt. That is very close to the required voltage, that is 8 volt. So we have got a very smooth output. Let us also add one more voltage marker. Let us see what is happening at the input of the voltage regulator. I'll take one more voltage level marker and I'll place it here. Please see here, this is red color and this is green color. Red color is the input to the voltage regulator, green color is the output of the voltage regulator. Please see here, we see there are some ripples in the input to the voltage regulator. That is because of the capacitor action, charging, discharging. That is the ripple voltage what we found. That is close to 12 volt. And the voltage regulator, Zener series voltage regulator, has cleaned this ripple and we have got a clean 8 volt output DC voltage. And what about the current? Current flowing through the load resistance must be somewhere around 53.33 milliampere. Let us see whether the same amount of current is flowing or not. I'll plot another graph for that. All you have to do is right click. You can just go to tools, because trace, and you can freeze the cursor. Because cursor is on, it will not allow you to right click. So I'll right click and I'll add one more plot. So this is for the voltage, this is for the current. So I'll click somewhere on this plot. So I'll click, right click, or what you can do is go here, select the current marker and place it on pin one side of the resistance. So otherwise you'll get all the negative values. So I'll place it somewhere here, pin 2. So please check here. So I'll switch on the cursor here, cursor on. Please see here, this is the current. To get the exact value, you can read it at the blue cursor. It is 53.7 milliampere and output voltage V out is 8.0610 volt, and at the input of the voltage regulator we have 11.759 volt, not 12 volt, because of the ripple. So this is current, this red line is the input to the voltage regulator, and this is the output of the voltage regulator, that is 8 volt as per the requirement. This completes the simulation and designing of the voltage regulator. Thank you.